You ever find yourself scrolling late at night and suddenly you're deep in a rabbit hole of videos promising to explain, well, you? Signs you have a high IQ, signs you're an old soul. We're going to dive into why those pop psychology videos are so incredibly compelling. So let's get right into it. So, what is it about that headline? 8 signs you are. Why is that so irresistible? Whether it's signs you're a Sigma male or struggles of the highly intelligent, millions and millions of us click. But this isn't just random curiosity. There are some really powerful psychological forces at play here, and we're going to unpack them together. Okay, the first big reason, and honestly, this one's probably the most powerful, it all comes down to our deep human need for validation. Look, we all have struggles, anxieties, things we feel kind of weird about. And what these videos do so brilliantly is they offer us a new way to look at ourselves, a way that makes us feel seen and understood, without all the shame.
And this is a perfect example of how that works. Think about the word laziness. It feels heavy, right? Like it's a character flaw, something wrong with you. But then a video reframes it as burnout, motivational exhaustion from too much pressure. Whoa. Suddenly, it's not a personal failing. It's something that's happening to you.
And that shift, it is everything. Because calling yourself lazy just piles shame on top of the exhaustion you're already feeling. So when a video offers you this other explanation, burnout, it's like this huge weight is lifted. It's basically saying, hey, you're not broken, you're just tired in a way that sleep can't fix. And that is incredibly comforting. So how do they get you to feel so seen? It's all in the details. They list out these super specific, super relatable symptoms. They'll ask things like, do you still care about your goals, but you just feel stuck? Or do simple tasks feel totally overwhelming? And as you're watching, you're nodding along thinking, wow, that is exactly me. That's the moment of validation. Okay, so that's validation, but there's another really important layer here. Beyond just feeling understood, these videos offer us something else we all secretly crave, a special identity. They take these really common everyday traits we all have, and they package them into something that feels rare, exclusive, even aspirational. Yeah, just take a look at this list. Enjoying being alone? Check. Overthinking stuff? Oh yeah. Questioning authority? For sure. Talking to yourself? Guilty. These are things so many of us do. But the magic trick these videos pull is to say, hey, those aren't just random quirks. Nope, those are the signs of a Sigma male or a highly intelligent person. And here's the clever part, how they make it all sound so official. They sprinkle in just enough psych jargon to make it feel super legit. So now you don't just like being independent. No, you are exhibiting autonomy-seeking behavior. Sounds much more impressive, right? It gives the whole identity this stamp of scientific authority. So the real hook here is turning the mundane into the magnificent. Your tendency to get bored easily isn't a flaw. It's just a sign that your intelligent brain craves more stimulation. Your discomfort in big crowds isn't awkwardness. It proves you prefer deep, meaningful connections. I mean, it's an incredibly flattering story, and who doesn't want to believe that? All right, and that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, simplicity. Let's be honest, our inner lives are messy. They are chaotic, they're complicated, and our brains are just desperate for a way to find some order in all that chaos. That's where these neat, numbered lists come in. They're like a welcome shortcut to clarity. And, there's actually a term for this. It's called cognitive overload. It's that feeling when your brain is just fried. It's so overwhelmed by complex problems that it just wants to shut down. And when that happens, we naturally go looking for simpler explanations. And boom, that's exactly what these videos serve up. In fact, you can break down the whole playbook. Step 1, identify a really common feeling, like being tired or stressed. Step 2, reframe it as a sign of something bigger. Step 3, give it a fancy psychology label. And finally, step 4, reward the viewer with a special identity. It's a simple, repeatable formula, and man, does it work. Here's a really concrete example. Think about something as incredibly complex as the lifelong impact of growing up with a narcissistic parent. I mean, that's years of tangled experiences. But then a video comes along and boils it all down to just 3 unusual traits. Now, is that a massive oversimplification? Of course it is. But for someone struggling to make sense of their past, those 3 points can make an overwhelming problem feel manageable for the very first time. So let's bring these 3 powerful ideas together. You've got our deep-seated need for validation, our desire to have a special identity, and our brain's natural craving for simple, clean explanations. This slide really puts it all together perfectly. To meet our need for validation, they promise, "You're not lazy, you're burnt out." To satisfy our search for identity, they tell us, "Your solitude makes you rare." And to give us simplicity, they claim these three traits explain everything. You mix all those together, and that is one potent psychological cocktail. Which, of course, leads us to the big final question we have to ask ourselves. Is this stuff actually a helpful tool for self-insight, or is it just another convenient box to put ourselves in, a label that feels good for a moment but ultimately limits our understanding of who we really are? At the end of the day, the power isn't really in the videos, it's in how we choose to use them. So here's the final thought. Use them for reflection, not for definition. Let them be a doorway to asking deeper questions about yourself, not the final destination. They're a starting point for curiosity, not a label you have to live inside.